Welcome. This episode is brought to you by the Dallas Weekly, and we are 100 Yards of Football. And today we are welcomed with a special guest, Coach Josh Howard. I am Coach Bryan Spencer of Carver College here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Coach you.
Yes, sir. And I believe, can you hear me, Josh? Coach, can you hear me? You might be having some difficulties here.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on my. Let's see if
I'm pressing the mic. I had muted it.
My volume.
My camera. No, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, it's it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them.
Yes, sir. I'm sure.
Maybe that's. All right, everything's turned up. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't hear you.
Okay, I'm turned up as well. We got the clip rolling. Maybe we can, by the time the clip finishes rolling, we might be able to get this fixed. Can you hear me now? We got a clip rolling of Josh Howard here. It's 100 Yards of Football. Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host, Bryan Spencer. We're being welcomed by Josh Howard here today. We might be having some technical difficulties while we got his clips rolling.
Oops, I can't. Chat.
Game here against the Jazz, he scored 47 points.
All right, let me see if I can do this.
You know, he used to do it inside out. Very versatile player. I had a great opportunity to spend time with Coach Howard, coaching here at Carver College in Atlanta. And, just met him. He was the head coach at the time at Piedmont International, and now he's the head coach at University of North Texas, Dallas. Just some accolades, man. I tried to remember all this stuff off the top of my head, Coach. Witherspoon joins us. I try to remember all this stuff off the top of my head, man, but I'm probably have to pick at my notes for all his accolades, man. He's originally from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Glenn High School, Kernersville, North Carolina. Averaged a double-double as a junior and a senior. Average as a senior, averaged 6 blocks. Shot a ridiculous 70% from the field. Ridiculous. Won the Frank Spencer Award for the top player in the state of North Carolina, the Northwest section of North Carolina. Won that award 2 times. Went on to Wake Forest, and as a freshman at Wake Forest, led the team in steals, which is ridiculous for a freshman to do. And then went on to became unanimous ACC Player of the Year. First time that had been done since 1975 by David Thompson. Everybody knows him from North Carolina State. All-team defensive ACC player, first team All-ACC, Associated Press, first team All-American, 2003, 29th draft pick for the Dallas Mavericks, 2013 Wake Forest Hall of Fame inductee. Also, I left out 2007 NBA All-Star. Coach, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Loud and clear now. Yes, sir.
Good deal, man. Great to have you on, man. I don't know if you saw some of those clips, man, but just reading off your accolades, man. I'm going to ask you this question, too, real quick. I don't know if you know what you and Shane Battier have in common.
I kind of do. It's something like rebounds, block shots. It's some type of stat we got. It's just me and him in the company of each other. Yeah. Coach
Will, now I want you to hear this. He's a humble guy, right? So he's talking about some type of stat. I want you to hear it.
It's a truth.
1,000 points.
Yes.
500 rebounds.
Yeah.
200 assists. 200 steals.
Yeah.
100 blocks. and 100 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I didn't start shooting threes until my senior year.
Right.
Wow.
So,
That is ridiculous, man. That is
That's
yeah.
really impressive.
That's impressive, man. But listen, man, I'm glad we got the audio worked out and fixed it. And first of all, Josh, man, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you taking the time out, man. And from the very, very first time I met you, man, you know, and I've dealt with NBA players and other people before, and so I kind of give them their space and everything, man. But when you came to play us at Carver, man, you know, I was just, you know, Coach, how you doing? Do you need anything? And you engaged me more than I engaged you. And he said, Coach, man, I want you to take my number, man. You're a good guy, man. Take my number down. And I was just impressed by that, man. You know, if you wasn't 6'8", you know, and just a regular dude, man, you'd be walking the streets, man. People wouldn't even, you know, think of nothing of you because you're just a humble guy, man. Where does that humility come from, man?
My grandma, my mom, and St. Peter's World Outreach Center, where I did most of my church upbringing at back in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You know, Pastor Hash always taught us to be humble. My grandma definitely taught me to be humble. You know, just us, our background, and just understanding and knowing where we came from, and you know, you got to put in that hard work in order to, you know, get the benefits of what you reap. So. You know, that's just me, just understanding who I am, and you know, using my blessings to bless others. I think one of the things I remember from when I first met you too is just knowing that you was a genuine person, and that's just something that I always look for in people. Just seeing how they really engage you, you know, and like I say, for me to be an NBA player, I'm always getting engaged. So, you know, as far as like understanding conversations, communications, you know, if I see somebody's really interested in what I got going on, then that lets me know they're really in tune with life and, you know, want to get to know me.
Right, man. And yeah, I appreciate that, man. And, you know, just doing my research on you and looking you up, man. Well, first, let me ask you this. What made you choose Wake Forest? Because I know you had options. What made you choose Wake Forest? Was it just for the fact that it was right there in your hometown, or?
Well, yeah, and to be honest, that was like the last ACC school that was going after me. A lot of people don't know my story as far as like everything that you said about my high school career was correct. I was just one of those kids that fell up under that umbrella of not passing the SAT, but I had every grade in school. Like I never failed a class or any of that. So when I went away to Hargrave, you know, it was just something that helped me boost my morale about life and again approaching the game of basketball. So it's just like things like that about my life that a lot of people don't know that I use as a motivational tool to basically get me to this point in life now.
Right. And now you were 2013 inductee to the Wake Forest Hall of Fame. And I watched that speech, man, and I was moved by that.
Yeah.
I was moved by that speech. But even prior to that, I could just tell by the man that introduced you, man, the love that Wake Forest has for you. And in watching your speech, I saw the love that you have for Wake Forest. But I don't want to be controversial, but I want to add, you made a statement in that speech. You said for this community to embrace me and welcome me, just a young black kid from Wake Forest. You know, what made you make that statement, man?
I mean, you can say it yourself and hear it.
Right.
Wake Forest is a PWI.
Right.
You know, I was raised around African Americans. You know, HBCUs is what was pushed to me. So, you know, for Wake Forest, which was on the other side of town, to give me an opportunity, yeah, you have to take your hat off to them because they could have easily went and gave that scholarship to somebody of their color.
Right.
You know, so that's just a part of life, and that's not being controversial. That's just, you know, what I said at the time, and Wake Forest alum before me, after me, they all understand that. So, you know, hats off to Wake Forest University, because if it wasn't for them giving me that shot, Dave Odom, Mr. Wellman, Jane Caldwell, I mean, the list goes on, man. Like, I wouldn't be who I am as well, you know, with understanding what's going on in the world today, you know, because it was definitely going on then when I came out of college, and it was going on way before I was even placed on this earth. So, you know, for me, it's just like, using my resources to better myself and then better my community. And if Wake Forest has a hand in that, then Wake Forest is definitely gonna get appreciated about that. So
right. I like that, man. And now speaking of Wake Forest and your Hall of Fame and your speech, man, you spoke about a coach that I know that is near and dear to you, man, in your heart, Coach Skip Prosser. And just speak to the influence that he had on your life and the statement that you made about don't be a 3 to 6 guy, be a 6 to 3 guy.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Prosser, and I'm thinking about all the cliches he used to throw at us, and that's something that I use as a coaching tool, for my young men. And that statement you said, don't be a 3 to 6 guy. A lot of people didn't know, but college sports, a lot of times you have practice from 3 to 6. That's like your free time, and trust me, college coaches are gonna take that time. So Coach Prosser used to always harp on I don't, basically care what you do between the hours of 3 to 6 because you're with me. He said what defines you is what you do from 6 to 3. If you got study hall right after practice, I mean, you got to do it. It's a part of your job. Wake Forest basketball, student athlete, that's a job. That's why another thing I'm kind of going to say this is like I feel like athletes should get paid because they literally do more than what a student does. And that's no disrespect to a student. I just don't think, it's a parallel as far as like people looking into what student athletes do on a regular basis. So, again, it's just like really being conscious of your surroundings and understanding, what's going on and how you got to motivate yourself along with seeing how people are watching you so you can motivate them as well.
Right. And I have seen, the relationship that you have with your and I'm kind of upset, Coach, because you got me the last one, man.
Hey, y'all had us.
I know.
It
Oh,
wasn't nothing I could say. Y'all had us.
oh man. But your guys, man, they respond to you well. They really respond to you well, man. And I can tell, the relationship that you had with them, it played a role in you guys, coming back and winning that game, man. So I know that, a lot of what you learned probably from Coach Prosser and Coach Odom, those guys, has influenced your coaching style.
Yeah, and like you said, Coach Prosser just cutting my light bulb on, excuse me. Not saying that it wasn't on before I got him, but Dave Odom definitely taught us a lot. But Skip really, taught me about the intricacies of being a man and understanding how sometimes you got to give and take and, knowing what battles to fight. That was one thing I definitely learned from Coach. So, I miss that guy, and I just, I live, and I hope he lives through me with my coaching. I know his son is coaching, and I know he's probably living through him as well. But Coach Prosser touched a lot of, athletes from Wake Forest and beyond.
Right. So then you graduate from college. You 29th pick by the Dallas Mavericks. What was the major transition that you had to make from the college level to the pro level?
Just adjusting to not being the man. Like again, with you reeling off those accolades and the things that I was able to accomplish. If it wasn't for my teammates, the coaching staff, at Wake Forest and my support staff, like I wouldn't have been able to transition to college. I mean, NBA ball like I did. Coming into a top-notch program or top-notch team, excuse me, in the Dallas Mavericks. It was just like I had to come in here and show them that I could live up to the challenge and live up to the expectations of what they thought of me for them to draft me. So, I was prepared well. Again, I take my hat off to that military school year too because it helped me kind of like harden up, I guess you could say, and understand like you can't necessarily go out and, do the things that most young men do at the time, but for me, it just taught me, understanding who I am and understanding that I gotta be on top of my game before I can help anybody else.
Right. So, you spoke on Hargrave twice, and a lot of kids these days are going post grad and doing those extra things like that. What would you say to a kid who, because all kids want to play in the NBA, what would you say to a young man that wants to go to the NBA, but high school maybe has not gone the way that they would hope that it would gone for them? They didn't go to the college that they may have wanted to go to. The road hasn't been smooth and easy because you had a challenge and you had to go to Harvard. So what would you say to a kid, a young kid who's going through some challenges, but he still wants to get to the league? What would you say to him?
I would tell them to run their race. And when I say that, I mean, don't be looking to your left or looking to your right to see what somebody is thinking or saying about you, and you got a goal at hand. Plies just really said that on Instagram the other day, and it really, rung a bell or cut a light bulb on my head, because it's true. Like when you're running the track or a race, you're not turning your head to the right or to the left to see where the next person is running beside you. You're looking ahead at that finish line, because that's what your focus is.
Right.
So regardless if you have to go to military school like myself, or if you get a full ride straight out of high school, you should take advantage of it. And for those kids that's on here that's listening, like if you have a second or third chance opportunity from a guy like myself, a coach right here, I wouldn't play around with that.
Right.
Me and Coach, and I'm pretty sure there's other coaches on here that deal with the same type of situation. Sometimes we have to get those second chance kids and third chance kids who really don't think we care. And at the end of the day, we're the ones that actually care, because you wouldn't have been going to this route of going to 1 to 2 to third school, So to have a coach that really wants to accept you and have you in their program and give you that shot that you ultimately telling them you want, and that's another thing. A lot of these young men are telling us this stuff, but then when they get to us, they're not really, showing up like they should. You should take advantage of that. So I just, pray whoever's on here, like if I reach one, I teach one. So
right.
I just pray like if somebody gets that message, because like I say, for me, basically we were the start of prep school when I came out in 1998. I was a product of prep school, and now it's gonna snowball to something big.
Right.
I went to prep school with football players and basketball players, to put it in aspect for some of you people that's listening. Probably like 100-something kids went to Hargrave. Out of those 100-something kids, Charles Grant, myself, which is Josh Howard. Charles Grant played professional football for the New Orleans Saints. I played for the Dallas Mavericks and so on. And my best friend, my good friend David West, were the only 3 Division I athletes out of 100-something kids that made it to the NBA. So it's a statistic that's eye-opening, and it should make these young men and women realize, like, basketball, football, whatever your sport of choice, is not going to be most likely the sport that you finish out with. You're going to probably end up getting a job. So you need to prepare for that.
Right, man. That's good words, man. I know Coach Witherspoon has some questions for you too when he joins us back.
Yeah.
But, those are words that I know is sincere from you, and just from being around you, the times I've been around you, like I said, how your players respond to you. I know those words are sincere, and so I appreciate you sharing that with our audience. And I talked to you in the a couple weeks ago, and I realized that you still a Mavericks fan.
Yeah.
And, they've making a good showing of themselves in these playoffs.
Yeah.
And you made a statement to me about their bench. How do you think that bench is faring for them so far? And what do you think is going to have to happen in the next 2 games for them to continue on?
Well, most definitely, the Mavs are one of my teams that are always going to be near and dear to my heart. So, yeah, anytime I see them out there playing, I'm definitely going to be pulling for them. And like I shared with you the other day, if the bench shows up, that's a supporting cast that's going to give Luka and those starting guys a chance to, catch their breath and come out, with more energy than what they've had. Of course, a lot of people don't realize the grind of playing a basketball season/tournament, whatever you want to call it, is real. So the body takes a lot of beating. A lot of these guys need rest. So if you got a bench that can come in and, steal some minutes from your superstars, that's awesome. So I think Dallas has been doing a great job with their bench. It's just ultimately, if we can get, or if they can get KP back, that'll be a big plus. Bigger than their role, sky's the limit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Coach?
Well, Coach, you mentioned KP.
Yeah.
And he him not being out with the knee soreness, I'm sure that's something that has played a huge role. Just talk about real quick what element is Dallas missing when you have someone of that caliber that's not out there to help?
I mean, that's like your second scorer, second in command, a guy that you can depend on to give you 20 points and 10 rebounds. So again, that goes back to what I was saying. Like if you can get a role player that's typically averaging 5 points off the bench to give you 7, oh, that's a plus. Like you gonna need that extra support, So being able to play, without some of your key pieces, shouldn't be an issue because as a coach, and I know coach, and both of y'all can, agree with me, you're coaching your whole team up as one. So if one guy goes down, it should be at least 2 guys that's there to pick him up as far as like pick up his slack, even with some of the starters that's around. So, it's some guys on the team that definitely have opportunity to show, what they're worth instead of mumbling and grumbling, behind the scenes, like, here's your chance now, So, and I think that's another part of the game that a lot of these young men don't realize. Like, everybody has high expectations to be the starter, but you're not going to be the starter. Everybody's not going to be a starter. So you got to get in where you fit in and show your worth. So, I think that was all right.
So what's your prediction for this next game? Because I know they definitely weren't happy with how they went out. Last night it got a little rough for them. So how do you feel like what is it going to take for them to be able to bounce back this next game?
I think at this point now it's like, playing with no remorse, going out there and leaving it on the court because at this point they're down. Even with the Luka Marquise Morris issue with the stepping on the ankle, like at this point, if you want to take it how you see it, it's time to just go out there and play, regardless of what if he didn't mean it or not. Now it's time to go out there and really just leave it out there because the next game you might not have a next game. It's time to go on your vacation, or as like Chuck and Shaq would say, it's time to go fishing. So I know they don't want to be walking around on TV with their fishing poles and all that good stuff. But, at the end of the day, I just commend all the NBA players for, taking a chance to do this in the bubble. To each his own, but, I commend them for even doing it.
Well, Coach, I wanted to, you touched on when you and Coach Spencer were talking, you talked about, your own difficulties and, running your own race. I was listening to the interview with Paul George last night. He talked about, his own mental health, being in the bubble, and just the struggle that has been, just trying to stay upbeat and positive and focus on the task at hand. Talk about just for the kids that are listening, talk about the importance of having that mental fortitude and being able to work through adversity so that you can accomplish a goal.
Yeah, it's important. And that's another thing I teach, and like Coach can allude to. Like, I always preach on your mental capacity, what you can push through, understanding that it's all in the mind. So yeah, you have to have control of your mind because if you don't have control of your mind, that's an idle place for Satan to set in and run rampant. So if you keep something fresh on your mind, keep something, as I say, happy thoughts. I wake up the same morning. If somebody asks me, same person call me every morning, ask me how my morning is, I'm always say great, because you got to speak it into existence. So for these young men and women out there, like, you can't let nobody take your confidence. I mean, I can give you an example of myself. I wasn't no good basketball player. I played football and baseball first through my teen years. Little summer camp I used to play at up the road from my house was one of the sorriest guys in the neighborhood. And another young man, and if he was here or if he's hearing this, he would probably try to chime in and call. We both got traded for each other because we both were the sorriest guys at the rec. And I'm going to tell you the end of the story is going to make you laugh. Got traded. We both were sorry. Ended up growing up. He became a millionaire on Wall Street, and I became a millionaire in the NBA. Yes. Shout out to Marcus.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
stories like that. If a kid hears that, like I say, reach one, teach one. If one of these young men and women hear that story and really believe like that, that's all I got to do. You don't necessarily have to make it to where Josh Howard made it, but whatever your goal is, as long as you can get to that goal, man, you succeeded. So, that's how I kind of approach life a lot of times, man. You can't necessarily compare yourself, like I said, in the race. You can't run beside the person beside you and think y'all gonna do the same thing. Somebody gonna be faster than the next person, So you just gotta accept what you can do and be happy with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Josh, man, we appreciate your time, man. We're not gonna hold you long, man, but we definitely want to give you the opportunity to speak about, now you're a coach, your coaching career now. I met you when you was coaching at Piedmont International out of Winston-Salem. And now you're the current head coach at University of North Texas, Dallas. Speak about that transition, changing schools, going there, and what you got going on down there.
Oh, well, even P.
We having some.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Leaving. Well, it's Carolina University now, but leaving, Piedmont was definitely tough for me, especially leaving, my former players, some of the staff that was definitely awesome towards us. So, and leaving my hometown of Winston-Salem, where I know people had access to me and could come to games and see me. But like you say, the transition down here to where, my main family, my immediate family is definitely a breath of fresh air. I don't have to sit back in North Carolina and wonder what my kids are doing at school. And I know they just a phone call away or a drive down the street, so to be able to be here and coach and do something I love in an area where I've already had success at, it's definitely a plus for me as well. So I'm just going to continue to not try to be an impact in this community with my basketball team, and also, give my basketball team or use my platform for my basketball team and others, to help them succeed and be the best they can be in life.
Right. So now, do you have any players key players that you got on your team this year, or what do you have coming back that makes you think that you're gonna have a successful season?
Well, this is our inaugural year, so everything that I'm doing this year is from scratch. So the biggest thing for me is to come in and set a tone of organization for the young men, letting them know that they do have a coach that's got their back. And definitely, when it comes to the basketball world, just prove people wrong. I know a lot of people think maybe just because we're the new kids on the block that they're going to come in and, beat us, but, not talking junk, but, coach, you coached against me and see like I'm really in tune with what I'm doing. So if I can get my young men to buy in and understand, like, I don't want nothing from them but to win, we gonna be fine, So that's what I'm going through as far as like the transition now. On top of COVID-19 definitely has made the summer difficult, and I know we haven't talked about it much, but just in general, what's been happening to our African American men and women,
Right.
That's definitely been another situation that I've definitely kept an ear to. Definitely been vocal in my past about it, and understand what's going on. I just again want to use my platform to educate people on what they don't know, because that's ultimately what it is. And the ones that do know, and play like they don't know, you just got to pray for those type people and, continue to move on and press forward.
Right. Coach Will?
Oh no, that's perfect. That was the last thing I wanted to touch on. Just kind of see how you felt with everything that's happening right now. The most recent, which is it's disheartening in itself, but the Jacob Blake situation. If you want to take a second to just kind of touch on that, and how what you felt, when you saw that video, what can we do to help the situation, things of that nature.
Well, initially what I felt was, here we go again. And I'm pretty sure every African American or anybody that supports Black Lives Matter movement has definitely said. And, it's just, again, it's just sad to continue to see the same reoccurring event. And I guess you could say nobody from the government or higher ups tries to intervene or, just put a foot down and stop it. So again, for me, and I've took heat for when I've said what I've said in the past when people weren't ready to hear it. For me, I learned just to go out and, again, like I said, educate. If people don't want to know about what's really going on, then that's fine, but you can still educate those. Like I said in this segment, reach one, teach one. You'll never know who you can, make realize, what's going on in the world is really not what's going on, and, they want to know the truth. So my piece of advice to anybody is continue to educate yourself and then educate those who want to know, and continue to love. I think that's a big thing that I take from a lot of people in life is you have to love in order to be successful, man. And you want to treat somebody how you want to be treated, So I think if people really listen to that cliche, treat people how you want to be treated, I think the world would definitely be a different source. Stop.
Absolutely.
Man, that's a great note to end on, Coach, and appreciate you, man, just taking the time out. Once again, man, probably one of the greatest guys in this industry that I've met. Just the humility that you have and the sincere care that you have for your players and the people around you. I can tell by the love that they show you and the love that you show them that you're going to do big things in this game, man. Whatever it is that you want to do in terms of coaching, I believe you're going to have the ability to do. So we've been joined by Josh Howard. We're seeing some of his clips right there. This episode of 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio, the basketball segment, been brought to you by the Dallas Weekly. Coach, appreciate you for coming on, man, and spending some time with us. Definitely appreciate it, man. And we got to do it again. And we got to get a game, man. We got to get a game. You know? We'll set it up, man. We come down there. You come up here.
Oh, get a game. Yes. Soon as I couldn't hear you because it went out, but soon as this COVID mess get cleared and we find out, yes, because I would love to have y'all come down, man. And if we can get away from here to get those guys, different scenery, I definitely bring them out to South Carolina. That's our side of the woods over there. Yeah. So yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, Coach. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Y'all be blessed.
Yes, sir. This has been 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio, the basketball segment, brought to you by the Dallas Weekly. I'm your host, Bryan Spencer. Been joined again today by Coach Will Witherspoon and Coach Josh Howard, the current coach of University of North Texas, Dallas. Remember, until next week, life is not important except the impact it has on other people's lives. So go and impact somebody's life in a positive way.